Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Peep Squad is in a building, baby. We going to the top, baby. We want to bring others with us. So please become a part of Notification Squad. Peep Squad, hit that notification bell, baby. Know each and every time I drop a video and tell me what's on your mind. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Marc Daly. Korma is a mother sucker. You know, he was up there complaining about Kenya Moore, not having no eggs, not having this in her house to cook him breakfast, even though, he works for a restaurant or he has a restaurant. And therefore, he could be ordering food and making sure food is stocked in Kenya Moore's refrigerator and, Brooklyn's refrigerator too as well, since he's not around all the time. But, he has been cited for having some things that are not too good going on in your restaurant. When you have rodents or vermins or anything of the sorts or the kind, and then on top of that you got roaches and shit like that in your restaurant, even though he did receive a grade A from the health department and the inspection. But come on, look what was inappropriate. Look at how the food was inappropriate displayed and the temperatures and all this other stuff. They're talking about the evidence of mice in the kitchen and or dining area. Like, are you kidding me? I know it's New York, but shit, when I go somewhere to eat, I want to make sure there ain't no mice and no roaches. So therefore, Kenya Moore planned this whole event, because if he can't hold his own business down and making sure it's correct, even though he passed, but he needed her help and she was there for him, and he smacked her in the face and made her look bad. And on her platform, what she do in her job, you don't see Kenya Moore trying to say clean up that vern and get these rats up out of here, get these roaches up out of here. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. He was dead wrong from the way he treated, Kenya Moore at the, charity event. And then on top of that, talking about he is not happy to be married. He want out of it. He, all that other stuff. He could have saved that. He didn't have to say that on TV. He could have said that to her personally and privately, and they could have filed their papers and did their thing privately. But he got on her platform and acted a damn mess, even though she didn't want some of the people invited to the event. And then we find out he didn't even want her at his own event, that he's asking for her assistance and also to have her friends there too as well, and even her enemies. And then on top of that, the camera are there, so he's basically getting so much exposure, and he liked it, but he didn't want to share the spotlight with Kenya Moore. He wanted his own spotlight because he didn't even want her there. I was like, damn, that got a hit to the dagger, baby, because Kenya Moore was telling the ladies that, Marc Daly didn't even want her at the event. So Kenya Moore is trying to, make sure her enemies ain't at the event. But at the same damn time, her husband didn't even want her at the event. And then on top of that, Kenya Moore is telling us that Marc was chastising her and basically snapping at her, whispering under his voice at her, while she's trying to do her best to make sure everything looks good, making sure she don't give her enemies no ammunition to use against her. He's over here chastising her and everything else. I was like, damn, what they do that at least he's supposed to hold back and wait till they get home. But we already know it wasn't going to be a good situation, because they wasn't a united front when it came to the event. They didn't show up together. You seen, Cynthia Bailey and her man Mike Hill, they showed up together. They was a united front, and everybody else was, except for Kenya Moore and Marc Daly. And basically, Kenya Moore is telling the ladies, Cynthia Bailey and Candy Burris, that Marc Daly is basically trying to destroy her. He's trying to take her down, and he won't stop until he's done, until he's finished with her. So basically, she got a loose cannon on her hand. It's a tick tick boom, and whatever is happening in the dark, we don't know. So if Marc got something to say, he needs to speak out about it. But he did a lot of speaking and a lot of action on the show. Therefore, it leads us to believe that he's not there for Kenya Moore, even though if he's not here for the drama and he's not here for all the situations that's going on with the ladies, and he want Kenya Moore to rise above it. But at the same time, she's paid to do a job, and she got to do her business just like you got to do your business and keep your kitchen clean and making sure that there ain't no rodents and there ain't no rats running around. You know what I mean? But it is what it is with that situation. So I was like, boy. So he came onto her platform to dog her and make her look bad, and shit done backfired and hit the fan. And they're talking about his restaurant. So eat there if you like. So Kenya Moore basically is trying to put on a stern face. She's trying to put on a face. She's basically trying to hold it down, and she feels like nobody got her back but Candy Burris and Cynthia Bailey. The rest of the girls ain't her friends. They will stab her in the back quick quickly, fast, and in a hurry. So when she say stab her in the back, she's talking about Portia. She is talking about Eva, but even though Eva's not at the event, but her and Eva are cool now. So Portia Williams, Nene Leakes, and Tanya Sams, and Marlo Hampton are one of the people she's talking about that would stab her in the back, and she really don't, want them to basically try to say, oh, I'm sorry for what's going on with you, or try to give her any sympathy or any of their emotions, because she doesn't believe it. She doesn't buy it. And she only trusts two people on the show right now, and that's Kandi Burruss and Cynthia Bailey. And she might, kind of like take a little bit of trust away from Cynthia Bailey, but we'll see what happens in the situation. But it is what it is. So she sat down with her girls, and she was just telling them what was going on in her situation between her and Marc Daly, and how he treated her. And basically, he berated her, he yelled at her, and he was, basically some mean, low down, how parents treat their children when they yell and they whisper and they say, you better not, you better do this, you better blah, 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 in your ear, basically, so nobody can hear them, getting at you, because they're still trying to basically pretend like, they are respectable and they don't do them type of things. So therefore, Kenya Moore is telling the ladies that when she was in the Uber with Marc Daly, he just went off. He just got upset. He was livid, and she did not know what to do. And basically, he told her to her face that he didn't even want her at the event. I was like, damn. She didn't want NeNe there. She didn't want Marlo there. Tanya Sams there. But baby, Marc didn't want her there. And you see Kandi Burruss and Cynthia Bailey trying to be supportive, to Kenya Moore, but Kenya Moore doesn't want to hear it from any of the other ladies. She is too through and done, and they are shocked and surprised. They was like, damn, he didn't even want you there, and then basically, being in the Uber and it taking off, and he's just being upset. He just, he's full with vengeance. He's upset with her, and basically, she said that she tried her best not to embarrass him or do anything wrong, but it didn't help, because he still feel embarrassed and he still feel like she did something wrong. So it is what it is. Marc, if you got something to say it, because right now it just looks like you or the Tasmanian out here in these streets. And it seems like Kandi Burruss is trying to be supportive, and she is being supportive of Kenya Moore, and just trying to tell the ladies, well, if we see, Kenya Moore and Grease, please don't bring up the divorce issue, because we know after the charity event between Kenya Moore and Marc Daly, she filed for a divorce. Basically, they separated. It's over. They are co-parenting, and we also know that Kenya Moore dropped Marc's last name from her Instagram and things like that. So Kandi Burruss is trying to warn the ladies not to say anything, and Marlo Hampton was like, what? Not say anything? And Cynthia Bailey is saying just be respectful, be sensitive to the situation. And Marlo Hampton was like, hell no, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't going down no way, no how. This is not the type of situation. And we already know that when one housewife is going through a struggle or a situation, the other one's either a support, or they poke fun, or they bring it up and is a part of their storyline, and they focus basically on your marriage or your relationship being ain't shit. You know what I mean? So, Marlo Hampton, she don't got no love for Kenya Moore like that. So therefore, she gonna speak her mind and say whatever she want to say about the situation. But Cynthia and Kandi Burruss tried to warn them. I know they was trying to be nice about the situation. They should have just, basically said nothing, because these ladies are gonna say and do whatever they want to do. Just like if, Cynthia Bailey or Kandi Burruss want to mention somebody else's relationship and say something about it, they gonna say it regardless. And basically, Nene Leakes was like, oh no, I hope it's a wake up call for Kenya Moore, because she wanted to bring the cookie lady down, and she wanted it to interfere between Tanya and Paul's relationship. Now she's getting it. Look at her situation. I was like, damn, Nene. And Nene feels no holds barred, because she feels like the ladies didn't support her when she had her mental breakdown when it came to Greg having pancreas cancer and having a closet gate, and the situation that went down with production and everything else like that, in the camera crew, teeth knocked out, hospital visits or whatever. She didn't get that, so she ain't giving it. And basically, if you feel like this before you go to Greece, how did you feel like you wanted to, sit down and have a conversation with Kenya Moore? Did something change? Because people do change. People do go through emotions where they feel like, let me be the bigger person. Let me show them some support, because I got that history of being married for 23 years and then divorcing my husband and getting back with him, and him suffering from pancreas cancer, but basically being healed. But in that process, he did cheat on me. So it seems like Nene Leakes wanted to have a sit down with Kenya Moore, but Kenya Moore was not hearing the situation. And it seems like the ladies are united when it comes to Kandi Burruss, Kenya Moore and Cynthia Bailey, that they all connected, that they all one, baby. They're all wearing the same colors. They got each other's back, baby. And so we have, Cynthia Bailey basically want Kenya Moore and Nene Leakes to have a sit down and have a conversation and talk. And that would be wonderful. That would be great if they can basically hash out everything that they feel about one another, talk about the situation without anybody getting up and walk away and making a truce, and then whoever breaks the truth, it be all hell out on them. But we probably never going to get that, because right now, to even expect for Kenya Moore to want to sit down and talk to Nene, which she doesn't like, she can't stand her, and she's not a friend of hers. And then on top of that, filing for divorce, the embarrassing situation when we came to the, charity event. And then on top of that, having Marc chastise her and yell at her and scream at her like in the Uber, and not being satisfied with anything that she has done, and all the ladies know about it. And then also not wanting some of the ladies at her event, and Marc basically throwing her under the bus, saying, I want everybody there. Even though Marc want to have a united front, this is not his platform. This is not his thing. This is his wife thing. He needs to follow her lead, but he ain't gonna follow her lead because he think he can come in and change the shit. But I guess he hasn't been watching the show long enough to know that drama is expected. And even if you don't have drama, drama will come for you in any shape, size, or form. So Cynthia Bailey had the good idea. Nene is here for it. And basically, Nene is telling Kenya Moore that I've been married. I know what you're going through. I understand. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Because I've been married. And Kenya Moore really don't want to hear it, because like she said, the rest of the ladies are going to stab her in the back. The only two people that she trusts is Kandi Burruss and Cynthia Bailey. And she is not buying Nene apology at all. Point blank, period. It is what it is. And hindsight, she did the right thing. Maybe if they did have a conversation and sat down, maybe it would be different, and we won't have Kenya Moore online coming at Nene. We won't have Nene online coming at Kenya Moore. But basically, it's not working, and it's not going to happen no time soon, because Kenya Moore don't want to sit down and be fake with Nene Leakes and act like she forgives her, act like it's cool. She don't like her. She can't stand her, and she's her common enemy, and she's been an enemy for a long time. This is allegedly how Kenya Moore feels. So, she didn't got time for the crap with Nene Leakes. And Nene feels like maybe, I'm a changed woman. I've came to, to believe that we can actually get along, but, even though Nene Leakes said that she has reached out to Kenya Moore several times and got rejected each and every time. So I guess now Nene Leakes is fed up. So from here on out and before, She just letting it reek of how she feels about Kenya Moore, and that's it. And, Nene Leakes says Kenya Moore is a very sad, nasty person. Lord have mercy. And Kenya Moore says, I'm not sitting down having a conversation with Nene Leakes. Nope. I got Brooklyn upstairs. I got to go check on my baby. I'm tired. We are not doing this tonight. Cynthia failed a mission attempt. And we have Marlo Hampton. She's going to Tanya Sands, basically talking about Kenya Moore not wanting to fellowship and sit down and be a part of the conversation. How nasty and how juvenile of her to do that. And she's telling Tanya Sands that, and Tanya Sands is like, we got Kandi Burruss over there, ear hustling, getting the information down so she can let Kenya Moore know what was said about her, because that's her girl. And Portia seeing to be very quiet, but we'll see on Sunday, because all this is going to premiere on Real Housewives of Atlanta on Sunday, so we'll get the full scoop. And basically, Nene Leakes is saying, I tried, baby. And Kenya and Cynthia Bailey saying, yes, you did try, and it is what it is. It is a failed attempt. It didn't happen. Marlo Hampton is still upset and up in arms that Kenya Moore got up and walked away and didn't want truth. And basically, she said, Nene, I tried to go to bat for you. I don't know why she don't want to sit down and have a conversation with you and talk. It's a shady situation. Why can't she fellowship? Like, come on, we're ladies, we grown. So Marlo is feeling a certain type of way about Kenya Moore walking away. And Nene Leakes said, I have some good words for it. I tried. And, Cynthia saying, I tried too. Marlo saying, I tried too. And, Nene Leakes saying, I appreciate y'all trying, but it is what it is. It ain't going to be no healing. So basically, let's just, take off the blinders and let's just get the strap in. Let's get in the ring and let it go ham and let it go have. But Nene Leakes did did want to have a conversation with Kenya Moore. I don't know how far it would have got, but Kenya Moore did make the attempt to sit down with Nene Leakes at her event, her ladies brunch, but you know, she only stayed 7 minutes because she wasn't waiting around for Nene Leakes, so it is what it is. And then, you know, basically, Nene Leakes got into a confessional and she said F Kenya and F her in her back skin. So basically, she ain't got no love for Kenya Moore, and it is what it is. F her in her basket. I was like, damn, you gonna come at her like that? Talk about her skin and say F her? Like, You know, it's not good to talk about another lady looks. Unless you're drop dead gorgeous, and Nene is drop dead gorgeous. You know, she's a beautiful woman too as well. You know, there are people that find her beautiful too, and she finds herself beautiful as well. But yep, she done came for Kenya Moore's skin. I don't even know why. But Kenya Moore is trying to hold on to the situation. She got a husband, you know, coming in. She wanted him to film and basically show, you know, how she grew and where she came from with him. But basically, it took a whole situation left. And if Marc didn't want to be filmed, he should have just said no. You know, or he could have just kept his mouth closed and said, I'm going to do this for you because I love you and baby Brooklyn, and this is a avenue for you to sell your products. It's an avenue for you to brand yourself. This is an avenue for your acting or whatever. So let me just support that situation, because the more money you have, the more money we have. But no, Marc Daly couldn't do. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes between Marc Daly, but it doesn't seem like Kenya Moore really wants to argue with Marc Daly or go to that situation with him, because she doesn't know what he might project or might do. So basically, it seems like Kenya Moore feels like Marc Daly is tick tick boom. He's a time bomb ticking, and she don't want no parts of that situation. And plus, you know, people are saying that they don't have a prenup. I don't know if that situation was taken care of, because I know Kenya Moore wanted to make sure everything that she has be left to her daughter, and her daughter is taken care of too as well, if some way somehow she's not here around for her daughter. So what do you guys think about this situation? I was like, Lord have mercy. It did seem like, you know, Nene Leakes wanted to have a conversation with Kenya Moore, but was it going to work out? If they can sit at a dinner table and not come at each other, I guess that's good enough. But I think, you know, Nene wanted to make something better out of the situation. Maybe even have a girl code or something like that, or basically have a sisterhood, because, you know, this is Kenya Moore's first time marriage, first time child, and maybe Nene Leakes could assist, and she could assist if they wasn't enemies. So you guys tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Much love to all my peeps and my peoples.